Hello, everyone. Welcome to our Clearing Live. We are live on Facebook and YouTube. Guys, if you have any comments or any questions you'd like to ask, drop a comment in the section. We'll get to your comments as quickly as we can. If we don't, your question doesn't get answered on the live, don't worry. You have someone part of our team that will answer your questions in the comments. So my name is Carl, and I am joined with Dr. Kellie Vincent. Hey,
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. How are you?
I'm very well, thanks. Yep.
Oh, that's great. Could you give us a bit of an overview of what department you're with and what you do?
Yep, so I'm the Associate Dean for Teaching, Learning and Student Experience in the Business School. So I work with all of our teaching teams. I work with a number of students. So
Yeah,
sometimes the students have got specific issues or queries. They will come to me. But generally work with our teams to try and help make sure we create a fantastic experience for our students, and also making sure that we're cutting edge with our teaching and learning activities.
oh, that's amazing. To start on that, you said student experience. You're the first person here that's talked about student experience. Would you give us a bit of like an insight on how the students are enjoying the course that they're doing and stuff, and what they have discussed with you and their feedback?
Yeah, so we obviously have students across three departments. We have our international business, marketing and tourism, accounting, finance and law, and strategy and management. I probably know a little bit more about strategy and management courses
Okay.
just because I used to be head of department there. But I tend to speak to students across all of our faculty. And one of the things that they've really valued quite recently is not just what they're doing within their course, but some of the extracurricular things we're doing outside of their course. So, for example, recently we ran a summer school for our students who are moving from the end of their first year into their second year, or second year into their third year,
Yeah.
and then into their final year. And it was really to give them a bit of a heads up so that
Yeah.
they could do a bit of work during the summer if they didn't have a unit running during the summer, but they could really take advantage of a bit of free time to really make sure that they're going in with a real bang to the start of the next year. So the things they typically talked about there was the fact that they loved working with real businesses.
Yeah.
They loved opportunities to, some of them interestingly said they loved the opportunities to delve into all of the information in the library. And I think you can't ever underestimate the value of so much stuff in our really comprehensive learning resources. We've also started to really work with students with more adaptive learning. So it follows the pace of their
Yeah.
understanding. So their books aren't just static books that you would read, but they test students and they help them change and adapt what they're learning as they need to. The last year has been a little bit different, of
Yeah.
course, because obviously some of the things I would have probably anticipated saying is that students have loved some of the trips and visits that many of our courses put on. They've had to be a little bit different this year.
Yeah.
But what we have done really well is try to bring in a lot of guest speakers. So I
That's
know
good. Yeah.
for our aviation students, for example, we had speakers talking about the airline industry and what's happening. We've had people coming in talking about how businesses have really coped with the COVID
Yeah.
situation. So it's that reality, and I like to call it experienced reality. And I think
Okay. Yeah.
that's what students love.
That's amazing. So you're speaking about that. You're saying you got in some speakers in. What links to the industry do you guys have?
Well, it depends on the course,
Yeah.
because again, we cover such a broad area. But some of our students, for example, would go to some of them have gone into the banking sector and they've gone
Yeah.
into the banking sector, others in the airline industry. We've got all sorts of what tend to be the most interesting are the small companies. So we have a large
Okay.
number of small, medium enterprises that we've got connections with. We have everything from perfume designers right the way through to fintech links.
Yeah.
It really depends on the course. But the reason the small businesses are really good is because the students get to see the whole of
Yeah.
the business. So rather than just being part of a small cog in a big, massive organization, they get to see how the whole picture works together. So from that perspective, we've got lots and lots of different varied SMEs that we work with.
That's great. How would you say, how important would you say the extracurricular is for the students to get involved with? And would you have like any advice you would say for those students getting into that? Should they be doing extracurricular stuff as they're studying, or should they focus on their studies? What's your opinion on that kind of area?
Well, we recognise that for many of our students, it's a challenge. A lot of our
Yeah.
students are very busy working and studying at the same time, and many will also have families. So to try and find time to fit in extracurricular stuff we know is a challenge. So increasingly, we're trying to pull as much of that as we can into the curriculum and into the courses and things that are happening already. But with that said, I don't think you should ever really disconnect the extracurricular stuff from your course, because actually everything you're doing in your course you can amplify by just getting involved and getting stuck in. So I do remember last year or the year before, it was when we were still on campus. So I marched my way around the departments, talking to all the tutors, saying, what's the one piece of advice you'd give to students when they're just arriving? And many of those tutors said, just embrace everything, get involved in as much as possible. If it's we have a fantastic marketing club, for example, and that's held in conjunction with the Chartered Institute of Marketing. Giles, the course coordinator that organises it all, puts a huge amount of work into getting some fantastic speakers in. Students across the business school can get involved with that sort of initiative, but for marketing students, they'll quite often see that many of the things they're studying on their course are actually reflected in some of those talks and events. So I would say never rule anything out, embrace as much as you can.
Another question on student engagement. So with the students, is there opportunities for them to obviously come back and be able to, I don't know, let's say provide their insight of when they were studying to other students as well? Let's say someone's graduated and stuff, and there's opportunities which they have after graduating.
Yeah, we're trying to do much more of that. You know, it's very difficult at the moment to try and enable people to come back in. But one of the benefits of the pandemic has been they don't have to physically come in. They can do something like this and still be available to our students. So we're very strongly encouraging that. We have also coming up next year, the university is engaging in peer-assisted supported studies. And one of the things that we're looking to do in the business school is make sure we're using that opportunity to bring more of our alumni back. The whole focus of that scheme for us is going to be looking at how do we help students build in a busy life and studies, and what advice can they take from perhaps not alumni, but students who are a little bit further on in their studies than they are, so that you've actually got that support from people who have been there perhaps the year before. Within the business school, we've also got a support team, and those support coordinators have tended to be past students, so they can really tell students what it's like. They work directly with me, and one of my team, she was an absolute superstar. In fact, they all have been superstars, but she was an absolute superstar in that she did her undergraduate studies with us. She had a baby at the same time, so she had a baby while she was studying. She came out with a first, she went on, she did a master's, and now she's busy working with our students to help really navigate what it takes to get through university life, because you know the studying is one part, the how do you navigate and fit everything together is the other part.
Amazing. Again, Kellie, thank you very much for joining us today. Thank you for providing your insight and value. We're going to start to index now and start to finish. Again, thank you for joining us. Any guys, thank you for joining the live on Facebook and YouTube. Again, any question that you guys have, like I see a question here, it will be answered in the comments shortly. Again, Kellie, thank you for joining us, and thank you for everyone being in the live.
No, you're welcome. Thank you, and good luck, everybody.
Thank you.